Let's imagine a scenario. You are in a place where the floodlights pierces the night sky, illuminating a battlefield where heroes are made and legends are born. Football, the beautiful game, more than just a sport, it's a universal language that transcends borders, unites nations, and ignites a passion. From the dusty streets of small villages to the grandeur of world-class arenas, football tells us the story of triumph, heartbreak, and unyielding determination. Today we are gonna dive into a global phenomenon, game that is not just played but lived. Welcome to the world of football. You might be new to this sports, but this sport, as I described, is one of the most famous sport in the history of sports history. And today we are going to discuss about the positions where players can play. Positions in footballs are one of the most basic and fundamental things to know, whether you are a seasoned player or just a starting out. The general positions are forward, the midfield, defense, and the goalkeeper. Each position has a specific area of the field that it covers. This includes how far back or forward, how far left or right their territory spans. Forward, the midfielders, the defenders are split into more specific positions based on their coverage of the left, center, or right side of the field. The defense on how far or back of each position is covered, determined by the specific positions where we will cover next. Goalkeepers, defenders, sweeper. Goalkeepers. In defense, we have more specific positions like centre back, sweeper, fullbacks, and wingbacks. In midfield, we have centre midfielder, defensive midfielder, attacking midfielder, wide midfielder. In forward, we have the centre forward or the striker, the second striker, and the wingers like left wing and right wing. How many soccer players are there on the team? In each team we have 11 players on the field. This includes 10 outfielders and a goalkeeper. For your information, one more you need to know that a football team can also play with 7 players. This is the minimum amount of players a team requires in the game, in the official games. Let's dive into it. Just imagine we have a 4-2-3-1 formation. In the next video I will cover up the what is the meaning of formations and other things. I will describe you this formation as described by the numbers 4-2-3-1. There are 4 defenders at the back, 3 midfielders, and 2 wingers, 1 forwards. The forwards, also known as the striker, as I said, have main objectives of scoring goals, but they are often the players who get most attentions, since their goal is designed to be in a scoring position. They start in the game on the midfield line, the line that divides the fields in half. During the game, these players typically go as far as forward as the opponent goal line at the end of field. They do not usually get much closer to their own goal than the midfield line. When the ball is played near their own goal, forwards are expected to stay around the midfield line so that their defensive players can do their job. They need to be ready to attempt to score when the ball comes back on their way. Forwards are often the players that takes penalty kicks, corner kicks, and when the opposing team kicks the ball out of the bounds. They have they are usually the players that are responsible for kicking off at the beginning of the game at halftime. Center forwards, the ninth spot, the number 9 when we say. These players are forwards, also known as the main striker. Specifically, they are the one who score goals. As the main objective, they are typically the main focus of the offensive players. If a team opts for a more defensive formation, the center forwards may find themselves in the attacking and goal alone, holding onto a ball when their team comes in for a play. Second striker. The position is also known as the support striker that lies somewhere between the traditional forward and a midfielder. Their main duty is to make passes through the opening and create shots for the center forward, as well as scoring goals for themselves. A winger, number 11 or number 7 spot. These are the types of forwards that can play either right or left side the field nearly the touch lines. Their objective is to quickly dribble past the offensive fullbacks and pass the ball to a striker. If a team plays more narrow formation in the midfield, they may not even use as wingers. Midfielders. Midfields spend a lot of time playing different roles in the game. This is a very important position because they are typically needed to be good at defense and offense at the same time. Some of their main duties includes assisting the defense and in making sure the opponent team doesn't get anywhere near their goal, getting the ball passed up to the forwards and for them to score a goal, making their way to the opposing team goal and scoring if opportunity arises. The territory for this position can quite vary a bit depending on who you ask. It is not surprising to see a midfielder in almost any area of the field, but for most part they should stick to the central area. At the beginning of the game, they are positioned behind the forwards. During the game, they often cover a halfway point between their own goal line and the midfield line. They can also cover between the midfield line and their opponent's goal line. Midfielders will sometimes take penalties, throw-ins, kickoffs and corner kicks depending on who is strongest at these roles. The central midfielder or the number 8 spot. These positions offer dual support in offensive as well as at attempting to get back the ball when on defense. Since they are placed at the center of the field, they have the most control over the flow of the match and have the most view of action at the both end of the play. The defensive midfields or the number 6 spot. These midfielders are placed in front of the defenders for extra protection. They are typically lay back when the team goes on attack. The main objective is to tackle the opposing player and potentially drive them out of their side. They can also cover other defenders and the midfield if they are up supporting the defense. At the attacking midfielder or the number 10 spot. This is a primarily offensive role that is placed between the central midfield and the forwards. This role can be divided into left, right, central midfield. Their main duty is to create opportunities for the striker by finding passes that can cut through the defense and the opposition. The wide midfielders. This position plays left or right midfield. They are simply we can say they are wingers. Their main role is to offer protection on the outer flanks of the field as well as supporting the opposition player. Offensive defenders. Defenders do even everything that they can make sure that the ball does not get passed through them. If there is no sweeper in the play, defenders are the last position opposing team encountered on their way to scoring a goal behind the goalkeeper. This position typically starts the game close to their own goal box. During the game, they can be found anywhere on their team's halfway on the field. This is between their goal line and the midfield line. The defenders can often expected to perform throw-ins, goal kicks, and corner kicks on their own side of the field. Centre backs, or number 5 and the number 4 spot. The job of this position is also known as central defenders. Is to stop players such as the opposing striker from shooting on the opposing striker from shooting on goals. It is common to see two of the centre backs to play on the pitch. They can easily cover a specific position of the field or cover a specific player. A sweeper. Nowadays, sweepers are not always a position that is utilized. Sometimes a coach will use 4 defenders instead of using a sweeper. However, when one is used on the field, they can be essentially the player that assists the goalkeeper. Sweeper can be the last defensive measure before the ball gets to reach the goalkeeper. The position usually starts behind the defenders and in front of the goalie. They do not typically go past the midfield line and can go as far back as their own goal line. They often will cover the entire field from left to right, wherever extra assistance is needed. A sweeper will often take goal kicks or the corner kicks. They are also expected to perform throw-ins when the opposing teams kick the ball out of the bound. This is the only time a player other than the goalie can touch the ball with their hand. Fullbacks, the number 3 and the number 2 spot. This position can be divided into left and right back. They are positioned either on the either side of the centre backs. They defend against the opposing wingers in the flanks who try to drive the ball past through them or pass to other attackers. They do not traditionally support attacking play. The wing backs or the attacking fullbacks. These are the defenders who more often involved in the offensive play. They are typically the one who covers more width on the field, especially if the team lacks a traditional winger. They usually support the midfield when on attack. This position usually covers the opposing wing backs on the defense. And the last, the goalkeeper, the number one spot. Like not the number one spot in the whole team, but the number one. You know, the goalie is typically only one player who is allowed to touch the ball with their hands while on field during the game. Their sole purpose is to keep the ball from making it into net. They always stay close. They always stay close to the goal, preventing the opposing team from scoring. They will typically do not leave the area of the goal box. The line from a box cross it to their own goal. This is because they may not touch the ball if they are outside the goal box. This is a rule, you know. You cannot touch the ball outside the goal area. And the goalkeepers are responsible for blocking the ball during penalty kicks, and getting the ball out of the area of the goal and to a player on their team further down the field. They often use a drop kick to get the ball as far away from their goal as possible. Importance of the positions. It is very important to know what each position does and what they are responsible for. If a player do not follow the guidelines of their position they play, their team will not function properly. When each player plays their position correctly and cover their correct areas of the field, the team will perform much better and will give each player a chance to use their skill at the necessary time. Positions are typically decided by what kind of skill a player has, making it important for an individual to focus on their specific positions. I hope you understood what I tried to teach in this video.